What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's One Piece chapter review, and in this week's video, we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 903. Now, I'll be focusing mainly on Morgan's article proclaiming Luffy to be the 5th Emperor of the Seas, and why I disagree with the reasons that he cites in his article. However, I will be trying to cover other events that happened in the chapter, but if I forget them, please forgive me. Now, we all know that Morgan's article was blowing smoke up Luffy's ass, and he was trying to get back at Big Mom at the same time. However, his article had some inaccurate statements. For starters, he lists Luffy as the mastermind of the attack on Big Mom in her territory. And at the beginning of the arc, we see that the Straw Hats, when they initially entered Big Mom's territory, their original intent was to retrieve Sanji and leave. It wasn't to directly oppose Big Mom or her crew, but it was only after they directly engaged Sweet Commander Cracker and had to engage the enraged army after his defeat that things got complicated. They only really decided to oppose Big Mom after they allied themselves with the Fire Tank Pirates and Capone Bage's plot to assassinate Big Mom. Another thing that the article makes is that Luffy's leadership and charisma allowed him to assemble 7 powerful pirate crews together and create the Grand Alliance with over 5,000 subordinates under him. However, most of us who watched the Dressrosa arc know that it was Usopp defeating Sugar that won the respect and loyalty and gratefulness of a lot of the gladiators and participants in the arc, and especially at the end of the arc, it was made clear that the Grand Alliance isn't directly subordinate to the Straw Hats, and that they are not the Straw Hats' direct underlings, nor are they Luffy's direct underlings. That the Grand Alliance and the 7 powerful pirate crews that are in it are independent, and that they do not have to answer to anybody. They can do anything that they want. It's only really when the Straw Hats need assistance or find themselves in trouble that the Grand Alliance will actually come to their aid. Another thing Morgan's list is Luffy's relationship to Sabo and Ace. And this isn't nothing new. During Marineford, it was made apparently clear that Luffy was the grandson of Garp and that he was the son of Dragon. Now, sure, being best friends with the second strongest revolutionary in the Revolutionary Army is a pretty scary thing to be finding out about your opponent, but, you know, him being the son of the leader of the Revolutionary Army is probably even more terrifying. So I really felt like that piece of information wasn't anything to really be amazed at. We already knew most of this going into Marineford, or during Marineford, and throughout the time skip. Another thing, he lists Luffy as being the one responsible for Big Mom's castle's destruction, when we all really know that it was Dufeld's corpse tipping over the box containing the Tamate Bako, which is really just a very, very heavily powerful explosive meant for Big Mom that caused the collapse or the destruction of the castle. It wasn't Luffy's awe-inspiring power or anything like that. Also, Morgan's article lists Luffy as being able to rope together Germa 66 and the fish, the fishermen, pirates, and everything like that. But we all know that it wasn't Luffy that looped them together. At least I don't initially think it was Luffy that looped them together. It was more so the fact that the Vince Smokes and Germa 66 decided to help Luffy and the Straw Hats because Sanji was with the Straw Hats, because Sanji showed loyalty towards the Straw Hats, and they wanted to help out a fellow Vinsmoke more so than they wanted to help out Luffy himself. And, you know, the Sun Pirates and the rest of the fishermen, they really decided to help Luffy more so because of Jinbei than out of, you know, direct loyalty to Luffy. It's really out of respect for Jinbei and admiration for him that they decided to go against Big Mom. It wasn't Luffy himself that directly looped them all together. Besides, a Yonko is coming after all of them. You know, it's not like the Germa stood any chance against Big Mom by themselves. It's not like the Sun Pirates stood any chance against Big Mom by themselves. And we already was seeing that the Straw Hats, if it went on, Big Mom was going to take them out herself. And, you know, they were being outmaneuvered on all sides. So I don't think it was going to be a situation where any of these groups by themselves could have taken on Big Mom. And I think it was one of those things where they really grouped up out of necessity rather than it's Luffy's charisma. It's more of a coincidence rather than Luffy's a great person and they all decide to follow this great person. No, the German 66 don't give a shit about Luffy. The Vince Smokes don't give a shit about Luffy. They give a shit about Sanji. You can pretty much argue that maybe, you know, some pirates give a shit about Luffy, but that's mostly through Jinbei giving a shit about Luffy, and Jinbei being a member of the Straw Hats now, rather than directly, we respect Luffy, we will die for Luffy, or anything like that. They'll die for Jinbei, but not Luffy. Also, the Fire Tank Pirates, well, that was just a marriage of convenience. They needed a powerful ally to help assassinate Big Mom. That assassination plot went haywire, and it pretty much became every man for himself. But it was only, you know, other than the fact that Nami and them knew Lola, that Chiffon decided to really be their friends, and that really linked the Fire Tanks and Capone Beige to the Straw Hats. But other than that, it's nothing more than coincidence. It's not Luffy. Also, we do see his bounty jump significantly. This thing is doubled, I believe tripled, to 1.5 billion berries. And we do see the reaction from the Yonko of reading the article. We see Blackbeard saying that it's not Luffy's time to take that title yet. We see Shanks saying we'll meet soon enough. We see Kaido wondering what Luffy was doing in that old hag's territory. And we see Big Mom being really pissed off and saying that Morgans is going to rue the day of this article. And, you know, looking at the whole arc, looking back at it all, Big Mom Pirates and Big Mom herself really weren't done any justice in this arc. They really weren't. And the reason I say this is because Cracker was giving Luffy a run for his money. And Cracker, I believe, in my opinion, was going to beat Luffy if it wasn't for Nami's help. And, you know, Cracker kind of just got one-shotted. As for Dogtooth, well, Dogtooth fought the good fight. Dogtooth, I'll give it, is one hell of a fighter. And, you know, his hockey abilities are astronomical. However, I felt like at the end of the fight with Luffy, he just kind of gave up. He didn't really continue on the fight, and I believe he could have. That's what I am a firm believer, that Luffy didn't win that fight against Dogtooth. Dogtooth could have won another round if he wanted to. Luffy did not look like he could go another round. But you also have to consider on Luffy's side that there was interference from the rest of the Charlotte family, and that Dogtooth, to make up for that interference, severely injured himself as well. And there was several other factors that factored into the whole fight. And the fact that Luffy had fought a lot of people. He fought Cracker before this fight. He fought the Enraged Army before this fight. He got beaten up by Sanji before this fight. He took a lot of damage going into this fight. So, although I don't think Luffy won, I'm not going to say he lost. I'm going to say it was a good tie. I'm not willing to say that he's stronger than Dogtooth. If anything, it's a tie. And Luffy gets a lot of respect from me for being able to even go as far as he did in his fight with Dogtooth, considering everything else he did in Big Mom's territory not that long before. Also, I felt like Big Mom was done no justice. Like, she was done no justice. Because not only do we see Jinbei, and you know, Jinbei gets respect. And I can understand Jinbei just being this tough, badass character, but the fact that he wasn't affected by Soul Pocus at all, and that Big Mom's Soul Pocus, this OP ability, depends on you fearing her, that really just watered down the fear factor of Big Mom. Because what made her so freaking epic in the beginning of her introduction was the fact that she could snatch away like undetermined amounts of your lifespan. She could kill you in that very instant by using Soul Pocus. But if you're not afraid of her, well, that just really just makes it useless. And that was really what she had going for her, other than the fact that she has like tremendous amounts of hockey, and that she's this almost invulnerable balloon of iron, and that has like superhuman strength, and she's gigantic, and that she has these three homies, Napoleon, Zeus, and Prometheus, that could really just mess you the fuck up. Soul Pocus was really what she was banking on. Soul Pocus was what I was banking on. And see, Jinbei just kind of brushed aside, and see that it's useless if you don't fear her. It took away a lot of the fear factor that went with her being a Yonko, as well as seeing Zeus kind of slowly betray Big Mom. Sure, Nami had that climate tactor, that climate tool that she uses, and sure, she produces clouds, and Zeus is a cloud, and he likes eating clouds, but he was made directly from Big Mom's soul. Does that not mean anything at all? The fact that she directly created these three homies from her own soul, and literally a portion of her own soul betrayed her for clouds. And now Zeus is kind of considered a pet of the Straw Hats now. That's like a big slap in the face for me towards Big Mom, because that just shows me there's no fear there. There's no consequence when you can literally steal a Yonko's pet or trusted companion and just literally treat it like a punk. Basically, they literally walked out of Big Mom's territory, not only with Sanji, not only taking out 2 Sweet Commanders, but they took Zeus as well. They have Jinbei as a crew member. They literally came out with a lot of things, and Big Mom lost several. Also, seeing Big Mom really start to weaken or get tired during her hungry rampage due to her metabolism, it also started showing like the weakness of the Yonko. It started showing me the weakness of Big Mom herself. And, a lot of characters have their own specific weaknesses, but as a Yonko, I was thinking that hers would not be so evidently seen. And there's no telling what would have directly happened to Big Mom, if she would have died or collapsed or something, if she didn't receive that wedding cake any sooner. It was only after that she received that wedding cake that she actually started thinking correctly, and that she was actually a threat again against the Straw Hats. Otherwise, throughout most of this arc, at least after the wedding cake ceremony, she just pretty much became like this mindless, rampaging monster. Sure, she was super strong, but there was no thought behind her attacks. There was no, really well thought out strategy. Her only strategy was to get the cake, to eat it, and to kill the Straw Hats. But it was only after she ate the cake that she actually got that type of strategy back, that common sense back. And it was only then that the Straw Hats would really press into a corner. I just don't know. Now I'm starting to see the Yonko less and less of threats. Sure, Kaido was talking a big talk when he said, "Oh, you defeated a Shichibukai? That's great. You think you're doing big stuff. You're really just playing child's games." I don't know, Kaido. I don't know. They made Big Mom look like a child's game. They made her Sweet Commanders look like child's games. Besides, Jack didn't do much better against those Vice Admirals or Admiral Isho any better. He didn't. They didn't retreat. He didn't retrieve Doflamingo. He got beaten, and then he got bodied by an elephant island, and he's at the bottom of the ocean as far as we know. I just don't think so. I don't think that the Yonko are as intimidating or as strong as we originally thought them to be earlier on in the series. When 2 Yonko met, it was something that made the world government shit their pants. It was something that made the Marines shit their pants. But to just have Luffy go into Yonko's territory and cause this much chaos and come out with so much is it's a little bit anticlimactic, I suppose, in my opinion, because I was hoping for Luffy to just get bodied, to just show the difference in power between the Yonko and the rest of the One Piece universe. But Luffy pretty much held his own, and he gave as much as he got in this whole arc. He bested the Sweet Commanders. Granted, Smoothie didn't directly do shit, and I'm still pissed about that. Smoothie didn't do shit throughout this arc. Nothing. She never had her own personal one-on-one fight. We never really saw the full-on degree of her Devil Fruit abilities. Nothing. We know that she's kind of smart, tactically speaking, when it comes to a naval fleet, but nothing else besides that. She stood there and she watched Big Mom get assassinated. She stood there and she watched Big Mom bust down the door to the poneglyphs. She pretty much did nothing throughout most of this arc. But besides all of that in Morgan's article, it's kind of a slap in the face of the other members of the worst generation, you know, because Urob took out Sweet Commander Snack. Eustace Kid and some of the other supernovas entered Big Mom's territory and caused ruckus there. And then not only that, but we have X Drake, who has become either a member or an affiliate of Kaido's crew. And you know, you did all this type of badass shit in your own right, and then you see Luffy get this fucking ridiculous bounty increase, and then you see these fucking fake news articles about all the tremendous shit he's done, and you're sitting over here like, what the hell? Like, how are you supposed to be a rival to a Yonko? You know, you're trying to set out a name for yourself, you're trying to make it big in the One Piece universe, and this nigga just gets a bounty increase to 1.5 billion. And then he gets announced as a Yonko. Like, how is Lost supposed to compete with that? How is Eustace Kid supposed to compete with that? How is anybody else supposed to compete with that in the One Piece universe if they're Luffy's rival? If they're one of the members of the worst generation besides Blackbeard? Also, if you're Blackbeard, that's just like a huge fuck you as well, because you waited how many years to get this Yami Yami no Mi? You waited how many years as a member of the Yonko's crew? You did all of this planning, all of this stuff, all of this backstabbing and trickery to enter Marineford, to get, you know, the most powerful prisoners, to kill Whitebeard when you had the chance, to get his devil fruit power, to snatch up his territory. All of this type of stuff you've been planning for a long span of time. And this nigga in less than 2 years just fucking comes through and runs through a Yonko's territory, and then he gets proclaimed a Yonko. It's like, what? It's like a slap in the face to Blackbeard as well, because he did all this planning, all this elaborate thought and everything, and Luffy just fucking rampages through Big Mom's territory, and everybody's up here calling him a Yonko now. It just basically made the planning look like nothing. But enough of Luffy and enough of all that nonsense. We do see Kobe later on in this chapter. We do see Kobe saving, I think, I'm trying to figure out who was it. Shirahoshi, I believe. It's not Shirahoshi, but he was saving some nobles from a torpedo or a submarine. And I was really hoping that he would be a vice admiral by now. I mean, sure, I'm not expecting Kobe to be an admiral, like, this far into the series, but at least a vice admiral. I mean, Kobe's pretty fucking talented. He's pretty fucking accomplished in his combat abilities, and he's a nice person. Besides, as we've seen with the vice admirals, their power levels differ a lot. Some of them are just as strong as admirals, and some of them are pretty weak as vice admirals. And I think Kobe's somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't think that Kobe's like this really strong vice admiral like Momo Tonga, but or like Dalmatian or anything like that, but at least along those lines, at least somewhere up there. We do see Helm Popo as well. I hope I'm saying his name right, but we do see him as well, and I'm hoping that he also becomes a vice admiral. It would be nice to see them actually progress in rank as well and become vice admirals, and I would really feel accomplished. I would really feel not accomplished, but I would feel proud of them. I would feel proud that Kobe's come a long way so far in the One Piece universe. But also, in this chapter, we see like a flashback to who Kobe was before, when he's reading the article on Luffy, and he puts on the glasses, and we see the old Kobe that we knew from the beginning of One Piece. We see all of that. And it makes me think back to all the times that Luffy and Kobe have interacted throughout the seasons, throughout the episodes, throughout the chapters, and how far both of them grown. You know, Luffy from being this startup pirate, Kobe from being this cabin boy, to them, you know, trading blows and punches and everything like that, and meeting each other at Marineford. And I'm just proud of how far Kobe's actually has gotten. I'm proud that he is this very combat competent opponent. You know, you don't get many good Marines. You know, you have some people like Aokiji or, you know, Garp or Sengoku who mean well, you know? Then you have dicks like Sakazuki. You have people like I'm trying to figure out the other guy. I can't figure out his name. I can't figure out his name. But you have the other guy, the Light Admiral, the Light Logia Admiral, and you know Onigumo and other vice admirals who are just absolute dicks in the Marines and the world government. And you need more people like Kobe in there. You need more people like Garp in there. You need more people like Aokiji in there. And the sad thing is, you know, in the Marines and the world government, you don't have as many good people as you have the bad people. And I would like to see Kobe have more authority and more influence in the world government, in the Marines. Because it's kind of like a lopsided thing in the One Piece universe. You know, it's kind of easy to root for the pirates because, sure, you have some Yonko, they're absolute dicks, but, you know, Luffy's a pirate, you know? And the Grand Alliance are pirates. And a lot of the people Luffy fucks with are pirates. But they're nice fucking pirates. As for the world government and the Marines, well, most of them are dicks, you know. Most of them are dicks. But I'm looking forward to Reverie that they're talking about in this chapter. They've been focusing heavily on Reverie and how it's coming around. And all the nobles are going to meet up and talk about issues and political topics and everything about that. And I want to see how it goes. Hopefully some noble family is going to get killed there. Hopefully we see a little bit more revelation there, or some more details that are going to be dropped. Can't wait for the next chapter. My mind's kind of going blank at the end of this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. What do you think you want to see going forward in the next few chapters? Bye.